It's the biggest cliche today to say that we are in the middle of an AI revolution. But like all cliches, it is also the biggest truth right now in the tech world. The other, related, and most staggering reality is that this is perhaps the fastest evolving technology in the history of all technologies, in terms of upgrades, new innovations, and adoptions. And like the time lapse video of a large growing tree, AI is branching out really, really fast. Now, Agentic AI has been one of the greatest innovations in this segment till date. If we think of AI in terms of a computer behaving more and more as a human, Agentic AI is perhaps the closest we have got so far. Why? Because this is an AI system that can autonomously plan, make decisions with specific goals as part of its process, all with minimum human intervention. Think of ChatGPT that answers your question. Now, think of Agent ChatGPT that can actually do things for you. That's right. From Siemens to Mayo Clinic to JP Morgan, a lot of companies around the world are using and investing in Agentic AI. Satya Nadella recently indicated that Saas, that software as a service, and software development as we know them, may soon be dead. In fact, one of the biggest champions and proponents of Agentic AI is Salesforce.
Agentforce, we take everything that we have learned from the great, incredible Steve Jobs, who inspired my life and my whole industry, my company, and Agentforce, I'm singularly focused on that right now, thinking about how do I deliver 1 billion agents. This is a great moment in technology.
Now, Salesforce's singular focus on Agentic AI is a great starting point of our conversation today and a great point to introduce our guest. I have with me today Arundhati Bhattacharya, head of Salesforce India, which is to say that she's leading the fastest growing market in a company which is the second largest enterprise software firm in the world. Formerly, she was the first female chairperson at the State Bank of India, which is India's largest bank. She's a pioneer. She's an inspiration. Thank you so much, ma'am, for joining us on the Morning Brief, and welcome.
Thank you so much. And I really need to thank Economic Times for having me on this podcast relating to the agentic layer. Thank you.
So, ma'am, we are talking about a concept, a phenomenon which is at the forefront of the AI revolution, which is
That's
at the
right.
forefront of the tech revolution in the world. We are talking about agentic AI. Let me start by asking you, and recently Salesforce CEO also said that AI agents are bigger than the internet, which is something really phenomenal. Let me start by asking you, what are the three ways in which agentic AI is changing the way we work?
Okay, so AI agents really they represent a true transformative leap in software. And what it does is it augments employees, it enhances your customer experiences, but it really and truly unlocks a limitless digital labor force for every single industry vertical. Although it's still very early days, the impact of AI agents is already reshaping how work is getting done, and it's delivering significantly in boosting the productivity of companies of all sizes and industries. We are talking about both productivity and efficiency, and to that extent, also a certain amount of cost efficiencies. You know, and that's why Agent Force has really captured the attention of CEOs, CTOs, and CIOs globally. And Salesforce is definitely positioned in that respect to be the leading enterprise. There, I would say we are number one, and it is the leading enterprise AI platform, and it's a source of a digital workforce for companies around the globe. And because a lot of data resides in our CRM, because we are the number one AI CRM company, we are
Right.
guiding our customers through this entire new AI fueled innovation cycle, helping them to reshape their businesses, boost productivity with AI, and become a trusted business partner to all of these business leaders.
Right. You spoke about Agent Force, and let me go
Yes.
over to that.
Yes.
It is a very important piece. It is a very important business for Salesforce right now. The CEO, again, Mr. Benioff, has spoken about supplying a billion AI agents to companies across the world. You've tied up with NVIDIA. You've acquired companies like 10x. We'll talk about all that. But first of all, how is Salesforce ensuring that it is at the forefront? It is leading the agentic AI story.
So, what we have done is that we have created an out of the box agent. Okay. Unlike in certain other platforms where you to do it yourself, we
Right.
have an out of the box agent on a platform that is ready to use. And it gives them, therefore, the best of AI at the lowest cost with the easiest level of use. For instance, I can tell you, when I joined Salesforce, a lot of people ask me, how is it that you, with first of all a finance background, and then you did your academics in English literature, what are you doing in an IT company? And in a way,
Right.
it was a little embarrassing because I couldn't code. Okay. But today, now with Agent Force, actually, you don't need to code. Even a person
Right.
like me who understands only English and can, understands English as a language and can write and read English, I'm able to create an agent because it's totally
Right.
out of the box, and there is a whole library of tasks that it can be given, which I can just tick off or add tasks depending upon what more I want it to do, and that too in just natural language, which is English or any other language, and the whole
Right.
thing works. So to
Have
that
you
extent,
created agents? Sorry to interrupt, but very
yes,
curious
we
to know.
all have. We all have.
Okay.
This is
Okay. Okay.
mandatory in the company. Every single one of us have had to create an agent. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
So
Okay.
that's where, so I think this is, I think, what is keeping us in the forefront. We already have Agent 2.0 version, and I will talk a little more about it later on.
Hmm.
And the fact of the matter is, we are looking at all kinds of things with this platform, where you can have multiple agent orchestration, where you can have what is called headless agents. That means you can go into
Right.
companies that aren't working with Salesforce at all and still put on the agents over there on top of whatever they have. So we are doing all kinds of things to enable us to stay ahead of the curve on this agentic layer.
Got it. Understood. Now let's talk about companies a little bit and
Mhm.
how their transformational journey because of the adoption of AI and of course agentic AI. Now there are many examples in the world already of companies that are using it. Siemens is using it for predictive maintenance. Mayo is using it for diagnostics, for instance. JP Morgan is using it to analyze its legal documents. This is something that I've read. Of course, please correct me if I'm wrong. But can you
Mhm.
tell me about, from the functional to the transformational? How are
Mhm.
companies across the world adopting it, and how are they really how is it transforming their entire being?
So let me first just give one example of a company, okay? And then I'll
Right.
go on to tell you what more it can do. For instance, you have this Adeco Group. And the Adeco Group, it's the world's largest provider of talent solution. And it places over 1 million people with work opportunities, okay? And they try and ensure that the workers are making the most of their skills.
Mhm.
With Data Cloud, what Adeco has done, they are building the foundations to implement Agent Force, and so that it can proactively interact with the candidates to pre-qualify them, help them put together a good application. It also will act as an assistant to help sort through millions of resumes that they receive, and it will quickly provide the recruiter with a short list of opportunities that are the best match for the job seeker. Okay. And Agent Force, what it actually does, it helps the company scale by saving time and resources, so that recruiters, they are, they can then focus on reaching out to the best candidates. And not only that, they can also assist the candidates with upskilling. Okay, so
Right.
to a very great extent, while they are making the current workforce more productive, they are also helping the entire workforce achieve efficiencies which they had not been able to do before. All right. So
Right.
what we believe, that agentic AI, what it will do, it has the potential to revolutionize various industries. In fact, I wanted to just mention that in Davos, we have showcased one small example in Andhra, where we are helping farmers actually come up with a more sustainable kind of farming by using Agent Force and giving it the right suggestions and the right inputs. And even those who go to certify the farms, even ensuring that those people know where to go, how to go about it, make their routes simpler. So what they are trying to bring about, they are actually working with the farmers producer organizations, the FPOs, and they are
Mm.
aggregating farmer data. They are trying to analyze soil types. They are looking at weather patterns. They are looking at data regarding demands, so as to forecast what would actually work. And then they are giving the inputs for organic farming to these farmers, and also bringing in the people who do the certification, as I said. Okay, so they are
Mhm.
putting it all together and thereby trying to ensure that these farmers go about doing sustainable farming. That is the point actually that they are trying to work on. And the farmers obviously need a lot of inputs, and to be able to tell them what to put into their what the soil type will best support, what will be the kind of returns that they can expect. So all of
Mhm.
this is now being sort of done through the layer. But actually speaking, this is just the beginning. We can do much more, given now that there is a lot of drone technology, etc. So subsequently, I'm sure we are also looking at doing a lot of work with this kind of a thing in order to maybe integrate that data as well. So this is just the beginning, basically.
But as a layman, three challenges that crop up, or three things that come to me when you talk about such use cases. One, the data for the farmers would be very, very scattered, and there are tons and tons of data sets that I think agentic AI really takes from. The other is the maybe the local governments would really need to help, right? And
No,
of
no,
course,
there is no
internet
doubt about
connectivity,
that.
etc.
There is no doubt about that. The data source, as you rightly say, is absolutely key. And yes, a lot of the data source is with the government, and we would need their help and their collaboration. Actually, the
Right.
one small pilot that I talked to you about is being done in collaboration with the government. It cannot be
Hmm.
done only, it has to be a public private partnership. Otherwise, it
Right.
cannot be, because what it really does is it can analyze data, it can determine what needs to be done, it can take action. All of this it
Right.
can do without human supervision. That is the
Hmm.
main thing. If you can give it the task that it needs to do, it can do it without that supervision. And that is why it
Right.
can achieve quite a bit, which it can scale, because without that, that scaling would be very difficult.
Right. Right. What are the other sectors and companies in India that are very keen to adopt or are already adopting agentic AI?
So, anybody who's servicing customers, all right?
Mm.
Because, for instance, we have the agentic layer already deployed on our customer helpline. Okay. So, help.salesforce.com, if you go on it, in most of the cases, you will meet the agent first before you can be passed on to a human agent. So, what it is
Right.
doing is it is resolving things like customer cases. It can also qualify, if you have a sales platform, it can qualify your sales leads. If you have a marketing platform, it can optimize your marketing campaigns. It can personalize your marketing campaigns.
Right.
So these are all the things that Agent Force can already do, and that is where we are seeing its usage mainly in the services area, not so much as yet in the shop floor, so to speak. But
Mm.
wherever there are customers and wherever there are customer connects, that is where we are seeing that Agent Force can really make a difference.
Going by your past experience, would you really want banks to adopt it more and more? Would you want them to be the first
No,
ones to?
absolutely, absolutely. We have been struggling because, see, every workforce has a limitation. You know,
Mm.
and you cannot hire workforce beyond a particular limitation. For instance, you have 200 people in your call centers, and your
Right.
wait time is 10 minutes. Can you now hire 2,000 people in order to bring it down to 1 minute? You can't really do it. It doesn't make
Absolutely.
sense. It's not means
Absolutely.
it, there is a restriction to the amount of people you can bring in order to give the quality of service that you'd like to give your customer. And that's where I think that's why we call it the digital labor platform, because you can create these agents so that the call time waiting can actually come down to
Right.
seconds instead of minutes. Okay.
Correct.
Now, when the
Hmm.
agent force, by the way, is unable to resolve something, it automatically gets passed on to a human agent. Okay. Instead of making a person wait for 20 minutes, sometimes they have said that a few cases they've been able to solve such cases even in 15 seconds.
Hmm.
So we are going to trying to bring down the TAT as well, so that overall the customer, the customer experience is way better than what it was earlier.
R- Right. You mentioned a very interesting point about how it comes from the digital agent, the AI agent, sorry, to the human agent, and I'll
Yeah.
pick on that in a while. But before that, just on the strand that I picked up earlier, uh, from my conversations and my preliminary reading, the three challenges that I see among companies in adopting AI is one, change management and how, this is a huge transformation, including in manpower. The other is budgeting, how much to invest and when and how and which projects. And the third is, of course, ethics and governance. What are Indian companies telling you, and how are you solving their problems in on that front?
I think, all the three things that you talked about is absolutely what we are hearing. There is a change management, and there is not only a change management, there are also, I would say, sometimes there is a little bit of skepticism as well. Uh, the buy-in is not yet complete, but I think that will happen as they go through the very many use cases that we are already able to solve. And
Mhm.
therefore, in order to get that, first of all, we have to create the buy-in of the top management, because unless they have buy-in and they lead a project, it's very
Absolutely.
difficult to get that change accepted down the line. So
Absolutely.
we are
Absolutely.
telling them that they don't have to jump in, completely. They should take their top three use cases and do a pilot with us. And if that gives them enough amount of confidence that this is working, we'll go ahead and deploy the lot. We are also getting a lot of people to build agents themselves. So, like I told you, when we sort of first announced it at Dreamforce, uh, all of the Dreamforce attendees, and there were more than 10,000 of them, I think around 11,000 attendees, they were all invited to come and build their own agents, and many of them have actually done it.
Hmm.
Okay, so even in these innovation tours that we are doing, innovation center visits that we are doing, we are asking people if they would like to build it, and we sit them down and get them to build the agent themselves. Okay, so the fact is, change management will begin at the top, and then obviously it will be driven down when they see
Sure.
how much better the experience becomes, and how much they can, expand their workforce by using these tools. Second is about budgeting. Now, budgeting that you talked about is, well, yes, technology is a spend, but you have to then understand that if I'm doing it here in this way, where else can I then rationalize my expense? That's one thing, by the way, it's a little off the track, but I will say this, that in India, there is a huge build mentality. Now,
Hmm.
in a build mentality, what happens is you actually build the system. But then, while at the initial stages it is quite cost effective, but upgrading and maintaining that system can become very costly, because the
Right.
same team may not be there. There might be difficulties about the way you have documented the codes and things like that. So it can become difficult. And what happens is you have created a technical debt. That means you have to sweat that asset till it is written off. Okay, I would say that budgeting is definitely something that people have to think about, and they have to be very deliberate about what they are doing, that they are not creating a technical debt, and they are being flexible and agile, because frankly the kind of evolution we are seeing, it's very fast paced evolution. This
Right.
evolution is faster than anything we have seen in the world of technology till date. It's proceeding at a very, very fast pace. So given
Hmm.
that, I think, creating of any big technical debts is not in anybody's interest, unless and until they are sure that this particular platform will also evolve and scale. They should go with people who are willing to and investing in evolving and scaling these platforms. And as for the last one, which is, how do you ensure ethics and integrity? We have created an office of ethical and humane use of
Hmm.
technology, and they operate on the 3P principle, and it's called principles, policies, and products. Okay, so the principles are the trusted AI principles, the GI guidelines, the responsible agentic guidelines, AI guidelines. There are several policies that you have, such as AUP safeguards regarding, say, chatbots, facial recognition, etc. And of course, the
Mm.
products, which is our Einstein trust layer. That layer basically protects the customer data, ensures that it's not going anywhere else. Data is yours and remain yours. It's not anybody else's, not even ours. And we use various kind of trust patterns that help humans, work responsibly. And these are integrated in our products in order to ensure that this trust layer is really something that works. Because our number one focus is, we have to make sure that trust keeps pace with our technology. And again,
Mm.
if the trust is broken, then nobody will be accepting the technology. So, both ways, it works both ways. It is required
Understood.
for keeping up the pace, it is also required for safeguarding guarding our clients.
Understood. Understood. I'll pick up one point from your answer, which is about rationalizing cost elsewhere, and bring it to a question which is always in everyone's minds whenever there is any talk of AI. And even more so with agentic AI, because the cornerstones of that are minimal human intervention, decision making, and higher automation. Let me start by asking you, how is the definition of a software developer or even a tech employee, how is that changing now?
So, the skill sets will change. Okay. For instance, when I talked about the helpline, what are we doing with those people who were taking these calls earlier? Now, not all of them obviously have gone off. Some of them can be repurposed. Their work stream can be repurposed for something else. For
Hmm.
instance, some of them have become what we call AI trainers. So they are
Right.
actually training the agent force. They are checking to see where agent force is doing the right thing, what more is required for them to be more accurate. Can they
Mhm.
be more empathetic in certain ways, meaning can they understand what the tone of the particular conversation is? So they have
Mm.
become what are called AI trainers. Now there are other
Right.
things that they can also do. For instance, earlier, because of the multiplicity of our clients, we were not able to have one-on-one interactions. So in order to
Mhm.
give them service or enable adoption of whatever they are taking from us, we used to do what are called many to one or one to many webinars. Okay. Now we will probably have the people to do not one to many, but one to limited number of people webinars. Okay. So as to ensure that the people who have taken our products are actually utilizing it correctly, they are utilizing all of the facilities that are provided in the product. So we call this adoption. So in
Mm.
fact, in India we are going to pilot a adoption group to try to see whether these people can increase adoption of the platforms, in the meaning that they are using everything of our platform and getting the best usage out of it. So there are many things that will happen, but believe me, there is a lot that today remains undone, because there is hardly a workforce that is not already working at its limits, or is not already overstretched. By bringing
Okay.
in the agent force, we believe that this overstretching of workforce, that will can definitely be minimized.
Right. Let's talk a little bit more about AI human coexistence. You've spoken about it. Mr. Satya Nadella very famously said just a few months back, and this is what started the agentic AI discourse actually. He said he wants to think with AI but work with humans. But then, some numbers, if I may. Salesforce gets queries from 36,000 companies every week, and 31,000 of them are solved by agents. How do we talk about a coexistence, or how do we not fear loss of jobs, etc., when the numbers are getting skewed more and more? And of course, Salesforce has also said that it will not employ any more customer facing engineers, but still increase productivity and efficiency. So aren't the fears legitimate of job losses, etc., you think?
No, that is exactly what I'm trying to tell you. There are many jobs today that we are not able to do, it's personalize or do well.
Hmm.
The reaching out, creating the customer connect, being at the customer's place more often. These are the things
Hmm.
we are not able to do. Even as I said, how much are we there in tier two, tier three cities? We are looking at agriculture now. How many you know, agriculturists or farmers have even thought of having something like Salesforce. The sky is the limit about what we can do when the repetitive tasks that we do are taken care of by digital agents. The task of actually reaching out, of creating the first the connect, of understanding the use case, of thinking about how to creatively address it, all of these will still need humans. It is humans that will create all of these things. Now with agents, actually the ability of that workforce to do more will actually get bigger. Means we are constantly thinking about where they'll get replaced. We are not thinking about what we have not given and how much more we can give and how much more needs to be given. That is where will be the difference between the agent force working alongside of humans, because certain amount of things humans don't need to get into. The repetitive kind of things human don't need to get into. But if those can be done by the agents, then humans can actually prioritize being human. Like we say internally, that agent force will actually allow humans to be more human, because they'll get around doing things which require creativity, which require thinking, which require strategizing. That's what they will be able to do.
Right. Final word from you. There's been a lot of talk about the death of SaaS because of agentic AI. Let me get the final sort of an outlook from you on what lies ahead.
And see, we are a SaaS company, okay? And
Exactly.
we
Yeah.
still have a platform on which you are going to do all of this. So where is the death of SaaS, so to speak?
Right.
What we are trying to say, that probably you don't need a separate CRM system or anything of the sort. We still
Right.
believe that, that is not going to be the case. You need the CRM for doing many more things. You need it also to do, for instance, things like, uh, you know, say, regulatory reporting. You need it
Right.
for various other things which are as yet not completely covered. And SaaS companies also cannot get stuck in a groove. We are a SaaS company, but we are leading
Mm.
the agentic evolution. So we will evolve as well. Who's saying that we have got to remain stuck in what we are doing? We need to
Right.
evolve, and we are evolving. Okay.
Right.
So whether
Right.
a SaaS company will also become a PaaS company, will also become something else, or will
Right.
become an agent company, agentic company, who knows?
Right.
So we don't know what the future holds for us. It's still very early days. But I can tell you, nobody is sitting tight and expecting that nothing will happen. We are all evolving. Our customers will evolve, and so will we. And therefore, there's no question of companies going out or leaving the field, so to speak. Everybody is there. Everybody is very excited and working very hard on innovations. The thing that we need to remember is there are two things only. We have five values in the company that all of us
Mhm.
abide by, and you can wake us up in the middle of the night, we'll be able to rattle them off. They're very simple. The first one is
Right.
trust, meaning that we have to have the trust of the customer. The second is customer success. So we have to do what the customers need in order to make them successful. The third one is innovation, which is exactly what we are doing. You have to be innovative all the time. You have to innovate. The fourth is
Mhm.
equality, and the fifth is sustainability. And we believe, in fact, Agent Force will make the world more equal, because it will democratize even writing of code. So even if you're not a coder, you can actually democratize writing of code. It's not then closed in to the few who know computer languages. It's open to anybody for natural language processing. It's going to democratize, it's going to bring about more equality. And of course, sustainability, which is what we are trying to do, as I said, with the farmers, the little bit that we are doing. That's in order to bring about more sustainability. So we live by those values. All of our products, processes, everything, they have to tick all five boxes. And I think, if we work in that manner, there's no reason why there should be a difficulty going forward.
Right. On that positive note, thank you so much, ma'am, for joining us on the morning brief.
Thank you.